Okay, next step, we want to be able to check if the user has a plan, and then we want to redirect him to the subscribe page if he doesn't, or we want to permit him to watch it if it's free. Okay, so first of all, we need to include the concept of having premium lessons. Therefore, for this test, I'm going to change it to say something else. So we'll be testing a user without a plan cannot watch premium lessons. Okay, so that's the test that we are going to be writing. So first of all, we need some premium lessons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to help use our test to include the concept of premium lessons. So we'll create factory for the lesson class, and we'll call our create method. And in this method, I'm going to pass in a key called premium, and I'll set this to 1. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have a database field called premium, and then if this field is 1, then that lesson is premium. So next, I'm going to pull this out for the moment. Then we're going to make a get request to the endpoint for the user to actually watch the video. Okay, so basically what we want is, if the user is not subscribed to a plan, we redirect him to the subscribe page so he can subscribe to one. But if the user is subscribed to a plan, then we simply allow him watch the premium lesson. Okay, so if we check up our routes file, we have this get page where we want the user to watch the series. So what we're going to do is we're going to visit this route right here, and we're going to pass in this lesson. Okay, so this should be lesson right here for descriptive purposes, and we need to pass in lesson series, and we'll pass in the slug. And then for the lesson right here, we'll pass in lesson ID. So when we make a get request to this lesson, which is a premium one, would assert something. So would assert that the user was redirected, and would assert that the user was actually redirected to the subscribe page. Okay, so the subscribe page, remember, is our get endpoint where we see the subscription form. Okay, so subscribe to our awesome site. Okay, so that's what we want to happen. Let's just try this out to see what we have in our test so far. So let's run this PHP unit, and we'll filter to that test. Okay, we have an error that says general error, table lessons has no column premium. Okay, obviously, so we'll head over to our create lessons table, and we're going to create a premium column. So table, and I want this to be a boolean, and I'll call this premium, and I'll just set this by default to be 0. Okay, so run this again, and we have expected this, and this is actually what we got. So we're redirected to the login page. So we need to log the user in before we try to visit the lesson for this, right? So I'm gonna say this acting as user, so we'll log this user in for this testing session. Okay, let's run that again. Now we have a failure. Response status code 200 is not a redirect status code. So in our controller, we are not redirecting the user to the subscribe page. So let's go to our web.php, and right here, this is our watch series controller at the show lesson method. So watch series controller, and the show lesson method, it simply returns that view. So what we want to do is check if the authenticated user has a current plan. So we'll say if auth user, and we have an is subscribed to plan method that Laravel cache gives to us. Let's actually just check the billable trait to make sure. So if we search subscribed, so it's called subscribe to plan. Okay, so watch series, if the auth user subscribed to plan, then we can let him watch the series. Okay, so actually we could check here if the auth user is not subscribed to a plan, then we need to redirect him. So return redirect, and this would be to the subscribe page. Okay, so we're just checking if the user has a plan. If he doesn't have a plan, we redirect him to the subscribe page. Okay, and we can maybe add a flash message or something like that. But for now, let's run the test. Okay, we have a 500. Looks like we're having an error. Let's disable exception handling to see that error. Okay, run that again, and the error we are having is too few arguments passed to function user subscribe to plan. Okay, let's check out what that method needs. It says determine if the Stripe model is actively subscribed to one of the given plans. We need to pass in all the plans that we want the user that we want to check if the user is subscribed to. Okay, so basically we pass in an array of all the plans. So for example, in our test or in our method right here, we can pass in an array and set up monthly and yearly. Okay, so we want to check if the user is subscribed to either monthly or yearly plan. Okay, so let's run this again, and now we have a successful test, meaning that user is not subscribed to any plan, and then he's automatically redirected to the subscribe page. Okay, so that is working. In the very next video, what we're going to do is we're going to subscribe the user to a plan using our fake subscribe method, and then we're going to assert that the user is actually redirected to this page and he can watch it. Okay, so thank you so much and see you then.